She said she wants a big, ugly trophy for winning stuff.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Like
Ooh,
the Conan over there. Now, can we work on something like this?
I can help the sport in my little way and kind of help it grow by making great events happen and facilitating a lot of athletes and actually giving them a platform to be showcased around the world.
So like 3 weeks ago, she competed in Static Monsters.
Yep.
And then 2 weeks ago, she competed at GPC Powerlifting Invitationals. 2 or 3 weeks time, she's competing in W.A Strongman Comp.
Yep.
And then the week after that, she's competing in ASA Strongman Comp. A few weeks after that, she's flying to Tasmania to compete in the Obliterate Comp.
Oh man, yeah.
And she's like, I just need you to program for these 23 events. And I was like, Jesus.
Everyone has questions.
Yes.
And like for me, my personality, I love to share. But when you like wake up to like 50 messages a day where people will ask the same question, you're just like there's got to be a better system to this.
All right, so I'll just try to cut a little intro here, and then we'll get stuck in.
Do we get the music?
We can. Do you want music and clapping as well?
Yeah.
Well,
not?
basically, when I edit it up, I have like a background track that I will pick like 3 or 4 little clips from the podcast in, and then I have that in the background. But we'll get intro music here as well. Some cheering. All right, you can't hear that, but you'll hear it on the YouTubes.
Yeah.
Welcome back, everybody, to the next episode of the Strength Institute podcast. Today, I've got Anthony from A1 Coaching from W.A Strongman here with me. I've actually got his partner Jane in the room too. She's a little camera shy. We'll get her on next podcast maybe. But today we're going to be talking about a bunch of things. We're going to be talking about their strength training business. We're going to be talking about the gym that they own. We're going to be talking about W.A Strongman, the upcoming W.A Strongest Person event. So I'm looking forward to it. Thanks for coming onto the podcast, mate.
Thanks for having me. Hey.
No worries at all. I guess we just start at the beginning. You guys first came up with your A1 coaching? That was your business?
Well, we actually, we both started in the industry separate to one another. So we only just recently incorporated, like last year, I think. So we both studied together, but we didn't know each other.
Okay.
And we both actually started working at a commercial gym, and it was one of those standard things. She was the trainer, I was the receptionist at the time. And then basically it was like after like a few months of courting, I managed to convince her to go out with me, and basically like it took her a few months to convince me to start coaching people.
Okay.
Because I originally didn't actually want to get into coaching people in a commercial gym sense. My biggest dream has always been to set up my own shop, pretty much like what you guys have here is like my ideal. And then she just said, "No, you've got to do it. If you don't start, it's never going to happen." So. So it's pretty good.
Got to take the plunge, I guess. That's good.
Yeah.
When you say studying, did you guys do like Cert 3 and 4 through somewhere?
That's where we started.
Yeah, that's where you started off? Yeah, awesome. Which guy? I did mine way back in the day through the Australian Institute of Fitness.
Ooh,
Is that your guys'
that's
one too?
us, yeah.
Yeah? Yeah, a long time ago. I did mine back in 2008. 2008 I did my one, and then enjoyed it so much, went back to uni and did the sports science, and then sort of got stuck. That's where I met Dan Macri, was when I went back to uni, he was doing sports science. And I'm sure I've told this on the podcast before, but I was there at, some lecture, human biology or physiology or something. And then I hear people talking behind me about like what they're squatting. And I'm like, that's bullshit.
Ridiculous. What's going on?
I turn around and there's this big gigantic man, and I'm like, well, he's either lying or there's something going on here. So I got to go and introduce myself after this lecture. And I started talking to him, nicest guy in the world. I know you guys know Dan as well. He invited, like literally that weekend, come to my house and train with me. I'm like, all right. So he gave me my first strongman lesson that weekend. We did yoke, we did log press. Almost got crushed by a giant tire. We're doing tire flips, and I was like, this is amazing. I got to do this more. So he's the one that got me in. And
That's so crazy.
Small world there.
Yeah.
And we'll circle back to Dan because he's the one originally started off with WA. Oh, he didn't start off. He took over from someone else, I believe, originally.
Yeah.
But then he was growing it for quite a while.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember his name. He actually did an ASA Nationals comp earlier this year.
Yes, down south. I did see he's a big individual as well. Yes. Yeah.
Strongman.
Yeah. So that's cool. So you guys met at a commercial gym. You were already coaching at the time, Jane?
Yeah, I was.
Nice.
Yeah.
And then you managed to convince you to start training as coaching as well.
Yeah, I mean,
Perfect.
she actually also taught me how to bench too.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Yeah, I kid you not, I've never benched. I to this day still don't like it.
You're in good company there.
I'm a strongman.
It's overrated.
Yeah.
It's overrated.
So I kid you not, like I would bench what she would bench, and which like for her it was a lot, but for me it was just I just do whatever I'm told. So
Right.
yeah.
Cool. And when you first started coaching, then that was just mainly sort of like generic strength training, and like, how did you get into actually doing strongman?
Well, I guess in terms of my training style, I basically I'm kind of a lover of just learning things. So it's I've told everyone this, and it's I think if anyone that knows me will know that if if I didn't get into the fitness industry, I would have gotten in some form of teaching. It's just if I soak up information, I have to share it. It's just what I do. And so it's always been just a case of problem solving for me. So like your Gen Pop people will chronically have like shoulder issues, hip issues, and it was just an avenue of me to pursue that like problem solving aspect. And I basically just kind of went into that and decided, well, like I'm good at this. Okay, what else can we do? And it's just a constant pursuit. And I got into powerlifting originally. Really did one of Dan and Paul's novice comps. Didn't really know much about the powerlifting world. Like when you're in a commercial gym and like you're a novice powerlifter, but you're still like the strongest guy in the gym. It's a pretty weird feeling to be to have and stuff. So we just basically went and discovered a different sport, and we were looking at different things. And I hate CrossFit. I don't have the conditioning for it.
Yep.
And fell out of love with powerlifting for a while, purely because of the monotony. I have a very short attention span, so
Sure.
I need to be stimulated.
Yeah, and I guess for people listening, most people know what powerlifting's all about, but basically it's just squat, bench, and deadlift every time.
Every day.
Every time.
I found a group on Facebook, W.A Strongman. Basically saw that there was a comp in Hillary's, and basically just said, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna prep for this and see where I go. And basically the rest is history.
Nice. So when was that? When was that first comp?
That was 2018, right? No, 2019. Yeah,
2019.
Started 2019.
And did you jump in as well, Jane?
No, I was
No.
a spectator.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
W.A Strongman was not for me.
Okay.
Yeah. So Jane did a CrossFit comp not long before that, partnered one, and I was prepping for my strongman and trained out of Ricci's, basically like the only strongman that was there. So I'd get in there like late at night, train from like 9 to 11 most days, and get in my work. And I actually remember the first event that we had was a yoke run, and the yoke I'd used was what Dan and Paul had at their gym. And I remember them explaining to me that it weighs 55 kilos. So I thought, okay, this is what I'm going to train for. And like comp weight was something like 250 kilos. And so I'd been prepping for it, thinking it's 55. Comes to the day of the event, and I'm stressing, I'm nervous. You're seeing all of these big guys. I'm a under 90 kilo athlete, so wasn't really that I felt very intimidated with all the big ones.
There's some big units walking around at strongman events.
But it's pretty good though. Like I do remember though my first experience. Like you get that initial feeling of like, oh, there's these big guys, but they're the most nicest guys out there, and you just go in and everyone's welcoming. Just what I actually fell in love with. So with that yoke event, I actually misloaded the bars in training. So apparently the yoke I'd been using was like 85 kilos.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, I like smoked that event, and that was an obvious confidence booster for me. So just basically went all out, saw what I could do, and I made it my goal to try and get qualified for states, which I did. Also happened to be the same year that Naramu became the world's strongest man.
Oh, right. So some stiff competition then.
Yeah. So it was a tough competition, but it was good to kind of compare. I remember facing off with him in the press medley for the 2019 state championships, thinking, holy shit, I'm literally versing the strongest guy in the world, and I'm competing with him in the events that he's best suited for. That at the time for me, pressing, I was very horrible at. I'd not practiced it a lot. So I was like thinking I'm barely even going to do anything, and this guy's going to smoke me. but we had a really good chat afterwards. And it's one of those things, you got to exercise patience, and like in any sport, you can't just get to that level.
It takes a long time. I think, like, especially with strength sports, because strength just takes so long to develop, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so that's pretty cool. And then, so Jane, when did you first start getting into strongman then? You saw how much he was enjoying it?
Basically, I was just like, I'll give it a try and see what happens, because like I saw Anthony going for Arnold's. Like, Anthony got the invite for Arnold's in 2019, and I was just like, oh well, like maybe I'll give it a try. And then obviously lockdown happened, and we didn't have your classic barbell and plates the whole time, so we tried to get some more like strongman equipment, really, just because it's the easiest thing. It's the most mobile stuff.
Yeah.
So then I just slowly started getting into the strongman stuff, and I was like, actually, this is quite fun. It's like a heavier version of CrossFit.
It is. It's like a heavier version of CrossFit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes the events are a little bit less time, but that's good, and less reps. But yeah. All right.
I actually thought I could probably give it a go, and so I was like, I'll just do one competition, and then I ended up
The rest
getting
is
the bug.
history.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Oh, that's pretty cool. Yeah. And so at this time then, had you guys bought into Legendary Lifting and started training there by this point?
Well, yeah, that happened on the tail end of 2019. We needed a place to train. I'd bought some sandbags and stuff for the commercial gym that I was working out in, and we had like a massive trap bar, and training for farmers with the trap bar, you'd load up a whole bunch of plates, and you run out of room. So what do? You take your sandbags and put your sandbags on the trap bar and load it up.
How you managed to balance that?
There's a lot of skill.
Yeah.
And a lot of resistance bands.
Yeah, okay,
That's
a lot of
all you do.
resistance bands.
And yeah, that's what we did, and you'd get a lot of stairs in the gym and stuff, but like, you got to improvise. So we worked hard to try and work that out, and found out that that like this gym had opened up around the same time that you guys opened your gym, and it was like literally a 10-minute walk away from where we were, and it took us like 6 months to actually just go there.
Really?
Yeah, I kid you not. We were like, we knew this gym was there. We found it on Instagram, and we were like, we should go there. It's in West Perth. Like, what? We're like, we should just go there. And like, it took us like 6 months, because we were just like, it's so far away. We didn't know where it was. And if anyone that knows the gym, like Legendary is very much kind of hidden away. It's like it used to be a bank in the 50s. The building that we're in. Yeah. So the gym used to be a bank. So we have
the
a massive
whole
safe.
building is got this strange vibe to it. It's like this fake
so much
rock
history
facade
there.
out the front.
Yeah.
It's an old bank, you're telling me. There's like a dog sitting upstairs,
Yeah.
but inside it's like all this powerlifting and strongman kit. Yeah,
Pretty
right.
much everything, yeah.
Yeah, so it was a bank originally.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was a bank. And then after the bank closed down, we actually, I think the Scouts headquarters was there for a few years. And then after they actually closed down, or I think they moved or something, the building was abandoned for a few years, and then we kind of moved in. And it was interesting, because we had to like replace all the copper pipes and stuff in the building, because any abandoned building...
Oh, they all get stripped down.
So everything was stripped out. So normally copper pipes are on the outside of buildings.
Yeah.
Our gym's different. We got copper pipes showcasing we call it our feature wall, where it's just copper pipes everywhere.
Right.
Yeah, you don't want to get them stolen again. So, city life.
Yeah. Geez, there you go.
Yeah.
Fun little fact there about Legendary I did not know about. Yeah. And then, all right. So you started Strongman back in 2019. You've fallen in love with it. It's broken the monotony of powerlifting training. It's a new aspect of coaching, new aspect of training, which is great. Completely understand all of that. At what point did you decide to take the step and try to, take over? Because there was a handover basically from Dan Macri and W.A Strongman to you guys.
Yeah.
And you guys have now been running the comps the last year and a bit?
Much. Like we started end of last financial year, technically. But we've basically been organizing events for this entire year.
Right.
Honestly, in terms of when it occurred to us to want to kind of be a part of Strongman, for me, it was basically like day one. Basically all my friends kind of call me the do something guy. When I kind of get my head stuck into something, I'll basically block everything out and just focus on that. So when I did that first comp in Hillary's, I I actually injured myself in that competition, which is hilarious. We had an axle press a max axle press event, and I had gotten to like 100 kilos, which for me I'd never done before, and I somehow did it. So I was like, hell yeah, okay, let's go for 110. We could do this. And this was the day that Naramu also, because he was also there.
Is this when he did the 165 or something?
Yeah.
It was like, which was a world record for the under 90s.
So you're obviously inspired seeing something like that.
Yeah.
So I thought, well, let's go and do this. And what ended up happening is I went to clean, landed on my stomach, slipped, landed straight on my quad.
Yeah.
Basically instant inflammation. But I actually thought, and when you look at the video of it, it's hilarious. I thought I got stung by a bee.
Oh, right.
I felt a sting.
Yeah.
So there's literally me, and Jane laughs at this because she was there trying to figure out what was going on. But I just feel that sting, and I just go and I smack my quad as hard as I can because I'm just like, it's a bee, whatever. I went to pull it again, and Dan's there reffing, and he like sees me collapse and fall backwards, and I was fine. And he's just like, he comes and pulls me up. And I'm like, oh, I don't know what happened. And then like 5 minutes later, my quad literally triples in size.
Oh, wow.
It was the second event of the day, and I still finished. I tied for first place, which like for me was huge. Luckily no damage, but it was actually like a subdermal. Think of like a bit of science lesson. You know when like a liquid becomes a solid really quickly?
Yep.
It's they're called like ferrofluids.
Okay.
So basically that's what happened with the fat layer underneath my skin. The impact caused the fat to turn into a solid and basically exploded.
Yeah, right.
Protecting the muscle. So,
okay.
Yeah, the physio that I saw at the time was like taking photos and everything, and he was like, yeah, this is pretty damn amazing. You don't see this kind of thing every day.
Yeah, right.
So yeah, I kind of attribute the lack of seriousness to the injury because to the fact that I had like a shit ton of chocolate for Easter the weekend before.
Hey, look, if it works, it works.
It works, yeah.
If it works, it works.
Yeah.
That's lucky because I don't know. Have you had ongoing issues from that? No.
Like the only thing is that the skin on the quad is loose.
Yeah.
So I call it my party trick now because it's like it just will always be loose. But one of the issues that you get when you do have like some type of loose skin is that sometimes it'll die. So that was the biggest stressor for us is if we don't treat this straight away and if you don't stimulate the skin and the muscle underneath it, it won't heal.
Right.
Which can become damaging, and then you'll have like range of motion issues and all that kind of stuff. But for me, being like the nerd that I am, I was like, well, this is a problem I want to solve. So I did whatever I could and did some research, and like you can literally learn anything online nowadays. So
it's amazing.
Yeah. Figured out how to deal with it, and now I just have like a bit of fluffy skin on my quad.
Fluffy skin on the quad. There you go. Yeah. That's really interesting. I haven't heard of that before. I've heard of like really big subdermal like hematomas, like basically a big old cork in the quad. I was playing rugby with a guy, cupped a knee, high speed, quad blew up. Painful to the point where you can't sort of massage it through, and then when it doesn't flush out, you get calcifications over time. And he had these like basically calcified blood clots through his quad. It's extremely painful, and you have to slowly work them out over time. It took like 8 months to get rid of them. Oh yeah, full on.
Yeah. No, my dad used to play rugby back in the 90s, so that's where like you could crack your skull open and keep playing on, and that was the culture. So you hear some crazy stories.
Not anymore. The refs are ruining it now.
Yeah, no blood.
They're just calling for TMOs every 5 minutes. Make a decision yourself. That's what you're getting paid to do. Anyhow, frustrating stuff. Yeah. I don't know if you heard my last podcast. We're talking about hashtag cancel AFL to try to get more players into rugby union. So we are still on that hashtag cancel AFL. Everyone.
I joined it. Yeah.
Yeah, perfect.
I agree.
I think we've digressed a little bit. So you said right from the start you wanted to get into WA Strongman.
Yeah. So I love the environment. I love the community aspect of it, and it's something that really rings true to like both myself and Jane, and like how we work as coaches, how we work as gym, is the fact that the community is the thing that drives the sport. So I remember finishing my comp and getting my little medal, and basically like after everything, I helped everyone pack up because like with any competition, volunteers are always scarce. So helped them out and
Scarce, but like really like needed.
Yeah. Oh, so needed. And basically, yeah, just told Dan, I was like if there's anything that I can do, just fucking ask me. I'll always be available. Because it's like when you're kind of trying to become part of a sport, if you don't put your hand up, you're not going to really become part of anything. Basically that coupled with helping out at a few comps and just kind of being as present as I could be, just basically meant that when Dan felt like he was ready to move on, he basically just approached me and said, hey, I think this is the record-breaking event that we did post-COVID.
December last year?
Yeah, December last year. He came up to me and basically said, hey, like, I'm thinking about stepping back from strongman, focusing on his studies and everything.
Yeah, he's going back to uni all day.
Yeah. I think he actually he had a trip up to Kalgoorlie with to go visit Rongo.
Yeah.
And then had like a moment there with him, and Rongo gave him some pretty good words, and basically meant like you gotta like I can't remember what he said, but basically just explained that like life's too short. You got to do what you enjoy doing, and be a part of the communities that you want to be a part of. And not that he doesn't want to be a part of Strongman, but just wants to be a part of it. And like he's competing again. Like he did his yoke record a few weeks ago as well.
Yeah.
So I know that I'm not going to be an Naramu one day, but I can help the sport in my little way and kind of help it grow by making great events happen and facilitating a lot of athletes like Megan, for instance, going to national comps and stuff, and actually giving them a platform to be showcased around the world.
Yeah,
so,
exactly. And I was going to touch on that under what pathways the events lead to. We'll do it after we talk about the state champs if you want.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, Megan's doing well. Megan's she's going to be going for her three-peat this year for the 82
it's
kilo
gonna be good.
belt, and then I think she's going to have a crack at the opens as well with the open weights there. So she's my weapon. Here's what I'm dealing with though, right? And you can appreciate this as coaches, okay? So like 3 weeks ago, she competed in Static Monsters.
Yep.
And then 2 weeks ago, she competed at GPC Powerlifting Invitationals. And then in like 2 or 3 weeks' time, she's competing in State W.A Strongman Comp.
Yeah.
And then the week after that, she's competing in ASA Strongman Comp. And then a few weeks after that, she's flying to Tasmania to compete in the Obliterate Comp.
Oh, man, yeah.
And she's like, I just need you to program for these 23 events. And I was like, Jesus, come on, man. So, but she's good. Man. But she's a savage, and she trains hard. So we'll make it happen. I'll do my best.
She's an example of what real athleticism is like. You just hammer through and you just get it done.
Yeah, got to get it done. Which is good. So excited for some of her comps that are coming up. But yeah, we've got in a few weeks. What's the date of it? W.A Strongest person.
27th of November.
27th of November. And it's being held in the city, Forest Chase.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Forest Chase in the city.
Biggest venue.
Yep. Biggest venue. New venue. It used to be at
Elizabeth Key.
Yeah.
But yeah, we got Forest Place. So it's going to be like right where like Maya and H&M is, and where the water fountain area is.
Right. Is that sort of right where they have the food trucks on Fridays? I don't know if yes.
Yeah.
Perfect. All right.
So we're taking over that whole area.
Oh, nice. So there's a big area right in the middle of the city. Yeah. So awesome.
It's going to be so good. It's been a lot of late nights for both myself and Jane, organizing and kind of prepping and getting all the paperwork done.
Yeah, and you mentioned this a little bit before we started, but just tell everyone listening what's that sort of preparation requires, trying to explain what Strongman is to people that are on city council that, So you're going to be doing what exactly?
Yeah. No, it's, honestly, though, like City of Perth have been pretty welcoming, and I think post-COVID, they've been trying to help a lot of local businesses and sporting associations kind of grow. But yeah, the safety aspects of everything, obviously with the sport like Strongman, you've got to cover all your bases, and when you've got a venue where the floor is basically covered in granite stones, you don't want to damage that, because if you do, you're liable. You've got to pay for that.
All right.
And they're like these little blocks, and if you break one of them, it's like $5,000 to fix. So yeah, we basically were like, nah, we're gonna do everything we can. We really want this venue. It's a risk we're willing to take. We can work around it. So we've got gym flooring that's going to cover the entire area. I'd actually already set up and made the events before we had the venue. I like to do that myself actually, because then I can plan the whole season accordingly. So I knew what the events were going to be for states well and truly back in January when we first approached City of Perth, and it was just a boatload of paperwork. We just finished the last kind of bit of paperwork for City of Perth last night at like 10:30. Got to the gym at 6 this morning to start off the day, and we're kind of on a bit of a downturn now where we can actually relax for once.
Nice.
So it's good. Yeah.
That's very exciting. And how many competitors have you got jumping in November 27?
We have 22.
22?
Yes, which is pretty good. It's on par with what we had in 2019. Considering we're the only strongman association in the country that's had a full season, to match pre-COVID state qualifying numbers is huge. But on top of that, it's also the biggest female heat that we've ever had too, which excites me. We definitely want to kind of make the sport as accessible as possible. And when your partner's the first lady of Strongman, she basically entices all other women to get into the sport.
That's good.
Megan's title, by the way.
Is that Megan's title?
Yeah, Megan coined the term, and so with this Strongman
first lady of Strongman.
She's gonna have a shirt that says it too.
Amazing.
Yeah, because every athlete for this comp will have their name, their nickname of their choosing on the back of their shirts. So
what's Megan's? Daffy Strong?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's going Daffy Strong?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's pretty good. So it's like those are the things that we want to do. We want to make the sport more of a show and make it fun for everyone to do. It's I'm wearing your classic Strongman shirt. But we want to make custom shirts every year, so every competition is different.
Right.
Adds a bit of personality to it, makes it more accessible, and more people are willing to watch it too. I've actually been trying to organize live streaming for this event, which is a big expense in itself. So.
Is it actually? I was wondering about that, because when you talk about accessibility, it's great you're having it in the middle of the city where lots of people are going to see it, but a lot of people are just happy just to chill at home. So if they have that option to watch it on live stream, that's something that you've been looking into?
Yeah, well, that was my biggest goal. So when I was planning the year for 2021 Strongman season, we obviously had to do a 2020's state championship thing. So we did that earlier in March. The events were already pre-selected because Dan had already made them, but because of COVID, we couldn't.
It was all delayed. Yeah,
it was all delayed. So we did that, and that was really good. But that was when I was really kind of planning events and venues and everything, and we decided, well, we're gonna do this comp at City of Perth. My biggest goal is I want to have it live streamed, because who else in the country is gonna be doing comps? Every state over east has been in lockdown every now and then, and
some extensively.
Yeah. So I think we had the national strongman competition got cancelled too, or postponed, and Fitfest as well got postponed to April next year. So we definitely wanted to make the most of this competition, because everyone in the country is going to be wanting to watch something, and we want to support the sport growing and make it grow as much as possible. So yeah.
So is that still in the works, or has that been finalized?
Still in the works, but what's going to more than likely happen is we'll probably film the day and then do a post-production and make a almost live broadcast and chuck it on YouTube, and then and share that for everyone, and then at the very least then people can see it.
Yeah, perfect.
So yeah, it should be good. I think people will definitely be making some turns to kind of compare us to World's Strongest Man, or making us do things that's pay-per-view or anything like that.
Right.
But yeah, no, we just hopefully next year we can do it actually live. So yeah, it should be good to have us do that, and then we can actually have graphics for everyone there.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah, well, that's
just adding production value to it, Yeah, it's all these small things that like it takes time and effort, but once you have it in place or you have like the process for it, it just makes it look so much better in the end. Yeah, that's really cool.
Exactly.
I like the ideas.
Yeah,
nice.
It's all about the little things.
Yeah.
No, so I think one of the biggest goals that we've actually also had on top of that was like Megan back in 2020, she went for her log record attempt, I think with her she's planning on working on like the standard submit log, and then had to use a different log on the day. Or
vice versa, she was working on a different log here, and then they used a standard submit on the day. So I had a smaller log which we had, taped some EVA foam around to get to the right diameter. Just because at that point, I had bought so much stuff for Megan for Strongman already. There's like sandbags and axles and like all these sort of different things. I was like, you know what, no more logs. She ended up buying the standard submit 8-inch log.
No, that's good.
But mind you, since then, and the Static Monsters comp, I've got a 12-inch coming too, because a bunch of people and Wagon Wheels want to start training for that as well. So, so in terms, she was a bit bummed out because she wasn't training really on the right equipment, but she's been on a fierce return since then.
Oh, really? Yeah, no, she's been killing it. Like we started Strongman Sundays earlier this year as well, and she's been kind of coming in to train on some of the comp equipment as often as she can. And she is like hell bent on becoming one of the strongest women in the country. And honestly, like I definitely reckon she can do it.
Well, I mean, she is a weapon. If we're just going on she's 2-time W.A State champ for the under 82s, and then in powerlifting at this invitational, it was the top 10 odd ladies. Obviously, we couldn't get everyone from over east, but she placed 5th or 6th on, and this is on formula. So she's let's just say a top 10 powerlifter for females across all the weight classes, in Australia, which is great. She's going to be going for opens.
She's a strongman, though.
She's a strongman. She'll tell you. She's a strongman competitor, not a powerlifter. That's right. She's been disappointed because we've now had 3 different nationals cancelled or delayed. It was the 2020 Arnold Classic Strongman, which was what she qualified from doing W.A Strongman.
Yeah.
Then there was an ASA Strongman Nationals that got cancelled.
Yeah.
And then the pushback from Arnold Classic went to Fitfest, and then that got delayed until maybe later.
Yeah.
But, who knows if these things actually go on, which was what I wanted to lead around in, which was assuming a perfect world where things stop getting locked down and shut down and everyone has to stay home. What are the pathways for strongmen, from a state competition? What do they have to do? If someone just listens to this podcast and goes, oh, yeah, I'll jump in, and they're just this gifted athlete and they're ready to go all the way to world's strongest man, how do they do that? What's the pathway?
So there's actually quite a few ways. I'll actually use Rongo as a good example. So he's up in Kalgoorlie. He's probably WA's biggest pro strongman if we talk about open weightlifters. So he started in strongman years ago. Just started off as a novice comp. Tried to get into it. Did really well and decided to go to do qualifier comp. Did his qualifying competition for the state championships. State championships gets you over to national championships.
So you got to go qualifier and then go to states.
Yeah.
Qualify at states. Do you have to win podium? What's the deal?
You got to win.
States
to go to Arnold's. And then from Arnold's, you've got to get your pro card. You've got to win that. And then that's typically what gets you your invitation to World's Strongest Man. There are other ways as well. So I know Rongo, he's going to be going for his log national record, I think he said he was. So we'll be doing a Record Breakers event second weekend in December to help him do that, and a lot of other athletes that want to break records too. So that'll be a good thing. And once he does that, and no doubt he'll break his record, that should then give him a World's Strongest Man invitation as well.
Okay.
So there's different ways of doing it, and it depends. So the log press event will. Sorry, I should just rephrase. The log press event will get Rongo an invitation to the World Log Press Championships.
Right.
That will then give him a Giants Live invitation.
Okay,
so,
perfect.
Yeah. So there's all the different avenues for that.
Right, and because sometimes it can be a little confusing, like at the Arnold Classic and Fitfest, where they normally have is 2 comps running side by side, correct? They have like a Giants Live or professional competition, and then they have Australia's Strongest Man. Is that how it works generally?
Typically, I think from my experience, that's what they have done in the past. But I know myself and Mason, who runs Australia's Strongest Man, we've been we've kind of talked about different avenues, and we are actually looking at restructuring the system for that, because the goal of Strongman is to make it as big of a show as possible, as accessible as possible, and as community orientated as possible. So over East, Mason's been doing a great job with his community and Compound Cabal. Given all the restrictions that they've had, he's done a really good job creating like an online competition where people can send their attempts for their comps, and he's offered some great prizes and everything for everyone, and it's really, really good to see what he's doing. And I think he's released a social comp in December or early January. We were hoping to go, actually, myself and Jane. We had other prior commitments, mainly just us having like a weekend or 2-week break off of just everything.
Yep.
Which I think is well deserved.
That's important.
Yeah.
I'm taking my first solid 10-day break in 3 years this Christmas.
Yeah, no,
Because
literally.
normally
Same.
like I take Christmas and Boxing Day off, and then like work for 3 or 4 days, and then take New Year's Eve and New Year's Day off, and then just keep working.
Yeah,
and this year I'm taking 24th to the 3rd off.
This is like luxury, right?
Don't talk to me. I'm going to be here.
Yeah, the life of a gym owner.
It's
hey?
great. Yeah, the gym will still be open for people that want to train,
Yeah.
and I'll be in here training, but I will not be coaching anybody.
Yeah. No. So yeah, we are looking at doing some restructuring, and we'll announce it all to everyone anyway. But the goal is to effectively create an avenue for a lot of the higher functioning athletes and strongmen that we have in the state, to give them a more accessible avenue to go to nationals and to international events, but also give a really good and open environment for people that are new to the sport to get into. So one of the big things that we are going to be looking at doing, we're going to be joining, I think it's Iron Revolution in Victoria. I think Aaron, who used to be Australia's strongest man's manager, he runs a comp where they do a 3 attempts max lift for stone, log, and deadlift.
Okay.
So we're basically going to be doing the same thing, and basically
Like a strongman deadlift, or like so
Strongman
like axle
deadlift.
or 18 inches.
We want to do 18 inches, just because we've got these new 18-inch Hummer tires that are being made.
Oh, nice.
And they're looking really cool. So we want to make the most out of it. And what's more strongman than lifting a stone, a log, and a big, massive tire deadlift?
That's right. Maybe I don't know, dragging a truck, but you're right up there for sure.
Yeah,
I think for people listening, they're hearing all these things. If they haven't seen a strongman comp, you really should, come down on the 27th to Forest Place or try to just look online, because strongman really is about creating a spectacle almost. It's sort of like lifting heavy stuff, moving. It's not just on the spot. Like quite often moving it. Sometimes you're on the spot. You're often moving these heavy things, awkward things, and it's stuff that you just are not going to see in a gym. You're not going to see it anywhere unless you go into a strongman comp.
Yeah.
So don't do yourself a disservice. Like get down, support, and have a look. I think it's pretty cool.
It's and it definitely helps the athletes be stronger when you yell at them. So
100%.
You need that group environment to kind of encourage. So it's definitely going to be fun to see everyone like showcase all their hard work. I know a lot of the guys that I've been seeing training on like the Conan's wheel that we've got down at Legendary, and like everyone doing their press medleys and stuff. It's definitely some hard ass training, and like for anyone that works hard in anything in life, like you want to feel like that hard work's being recognized, and there's nothing better than having a massive crowd cheering you on when you do it. So
that's right. Absolutely. Talking about setting up a competition, so setting up the events, I guess, is the important part. So generally on a full day strongman competition, you might see 5 events, 4 or 5 events, usually in that range. How do you structure your events if you're picking a comp? Because you're running 2 or 3 qualifiers and states.
Yeah.
Are you doing novice ones as well?
Yes.
Are
Yeah.
they run in line with the qualifiers though? That's how it works?
Typically, yeah.
Yeah.
So
4 like unique competitions though, like during the year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there'll be each unique to one another. Sometimes there'll be a theme. Just obviously because like yourself as a coach, you'll know that when you train and program for clients, it's very difficult when things get chopped and changed all the way around. And at like the elite level for like World's Strongest Man, it's their job to make it as much of a spectacle as possible, where they just throw whatever the hell they can at those guys, and they just have to do it.
Yeah.
At a local amateur league level, it's very difficult when the competitors are your average Joes that want to get into the sport because they love it. Some guys that want to go into a more professional route. But all in all, they're paying to participate in the sport. Much like anyone that's got any social sport, when you pay to participate in a sport, you don't typically have the best recovery tools at hand to make sure that you look after yourself post comp. Like my biggest example is like guys that play social soccer. After they finish a big comp, they'll then go and have a beer at the local pub. But when you look at like any pro athlete or like Nick Natanui or something, you go, okay, well, this guy goes and gets a massage done after any match that he does. Or like LeBron James, he spends upwards of like $1.2 million on his body to recover himself a year.
Yeah, Russell Wilson for the Seattle Seahawks NFL as well, $1 million a year on recovery methods. Yeah.
So for those pro guys, they've got the tools at hand to do that. So for us mere mortals, we can't do that. So we have to make sure that we can try and make the comp safe. So creating a bit of a theme in some of the movements helps us create a good avenue for them to develop those movement patterns so that they can progress through the line of the sport and follow the theme of the season.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that both myself and my partner Jane have been really good at doing so far. Is creating a theme and sticking to that throughout the season and helping everyone kind of develop. So like for instance, this year, a lot of people have been giving me shit for us having a lot of elevated deadlifts this year. But maybe there's a reason. Like we had a frame deadlift, max deadlift at our Champions Novice Comp, which is really good actually. We had tire deadlifts, and then what else do we have? That's basically the two main type of deadlift events. And clearly that prepped everyone for the elephant bar deadlift that we've got, or the Hummer tire deadlift that we've got. So it's definitely fun to kind of keep that theme.
Right.
But it makes it easier for everyone to potentially hit like a national state record at the states. So which ideally for us, like we want to showcase everyone hitting some big numbers.
Yeah. I guess if I was going to put on my Strongman events coordinator cap, what would I like to see in a Strongman account? And I've talked about this with Dan Macri as well, is that you want to see like a carry, an overhead, some sort of deadlift variation, some sort of loading event, and then maybe a medley as well. Right? Get a nice, like, well-rounded feel for strongman. Or you could, like, have multiple of those. Do you know what I mean? You could have some sort of static, like a static hold or some sort of endurance events in there as well. But when you say carry, there's so many things you can do. You can do farmer carries, sandbag carries, duck walks, yoke carries, car carries. Well, it's just like almost endless, really. And then overheads. What's an overhead? A giant dumbbell, a block, a stone, a sandbag, a log, an axle. Like, what's a deadlift? Like normal deadlift, car deadlift, axle deadlift, Hummer tire deadlift, like wagon wheel deadlift. There's all these things. So it's kind of fun. But I guess there is, like you said, you have themes that you can work to. And then you can just sort of like pick and choose the events that fit those themes.
No, exactly. And it gives a structure and it makes it a bit more balanced when you look at creating an event, and it helps make it more accessible. It is a fine line though, because you don't want to make it too predictable where people will then be able to guess. Okay, we're doing farmers carries in this comp, so there's definitely going to be farmers carries in the next comp.
Right.
So I like to keep people on their toes a little bit. I'm very much I hold the events quite closely to my chest. No one knows. Even Jane as well. She doesn't know anything until till everyone else knows.
Right, because Jane still competes.
Yeah.
Yes, and they can't play favourites. No pillow talking what the events are going to be.
Yeah. No,
Right.
she hates it, but I'm very much like that. It's one of those things where like you got to be very specific, and you got to stay very impartial with everything that you do. So we started this rule where 12 weeks out from comp is the latest that you'll know the date of an event. 8 weeks out from comp is where you'll know the events and the weights and everything, and that's the standard.
Yep.
I want to try and push it further where people can know about 12 weeks out from a comp what all the events and everything will be. I've called this year the year of the transition because obviously Jane and I have transitioned into taking over the sport, so there's a lot of like new systems that we've had to put into place to make it function in the way that we can make it work as efficiently as we would like. Us like running a gym and a coaching business too, we've got to also have our type of balance and our lifestyle as well. So yeah, we're finally getting there, and next year will kind of be like the showcases to like what all those changes really will kind of culminate to. We'll definitely. I think after the state championships, where everyone can see what the sports come to, we'll see a lot of new faces next year, which definitely excites me for sure.
That's awesome. That's great. Right. So, I mean, that's basically everything that I think we wanted to touch on.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that I missed that you guys want to chat about while we're here? I mean, I've got upcoming events, but really it's the big one is November 27th at Forest Place in the city, W.A State.
That's the biggest comp. We do technically for this event. It was meant to be a Fitfest qualifier. We kind of set up that structure with Mason and the guys over Easton. So fingers crossed that still works. That we don't get any more delays.
Have they set a date for when they want that Fitfest to be?
That should be in April.
In April.
Yeah,
late
April.
I mean, because what happened originally was they were going to push 2020 to this year.
Yeah.
And then they just like, you know what, we're just going to have it as 2021.
Yeah.
And then that's getting pushed to next year. So is it just going to be 2022 in April, or is it going to be the 2021 but delayed?
So from what I've been told, it's 2021 but delayed.
Okay.
So hopefully that's still going to be the case. But we'll see. It's one of those things where when you look at like for instance, I still have an Arnold's invitation from 2019.
Right.
I'm nowhere near in peak condition to compete at Arnold's right now. So it's probably not fair that I should go to Arnold's and like leave it to like Matt Bilsma, who's like won the under 90s earlier this year for the 2020.
Right.
Like he's in definitely a better condition to go to Arnold's than I am. So it's you got to try and keep things fair as well. And
right.
That's where like the tough kind of questions comes in for like your state reps and the national cabinet. You got to kind of all get together to organize things and just have an open dialogue. So
yeah, that's fair enough. That's very fair enough. Yeah, well, it's good. I mean, Megan and I, we have several $1,000s worth of flight tokens that we kept having to cancel. So I'm ready to go to something. I don't know where it's going to be. I'm ready to fly to some competition somewhere in the future. But yeah.
Hopefully April next year when Fitfest happens. Like both Jane and I will definitely be going. I'll probably be reffing and helping the guys kind of officiate the day and everything, and actually physically get to meet everyone else. Like we've been talking about actually trying to communicate with everyone. I think the biggest thing that we probably haven't mentioned that much today so far is like record keeping in strongman. So that was like my biggest goal is to have like a records
that would be great
system.
Because I'm trying to figure out who holds the records for what and for where,
it's crazy,
and what's
right?
what's the record for this comp versus the actual record. This was big confusion even just a few weeks ago at Static Monsters. Megan's like, I'm going for the Australian log record at 91 kilos. Turns out, well, that's a state record. It's actually a national record for Static Monsters, but there was a 100 kilo log done at Australia's Strongest Competition or a state strongest competition earlier, right? So it's like, where are those numbers, you know? So get on that, please. All right, I need you to get some sort of program for me.
I've got two main projects of mine, three really, where like one of my biggest things is to make the sport more accessible. Like think of like anyone else, like my experience getting into strongman, I knew no rules. I didn't know how the sport worked. I didn't know like what the specifics are and like how you gotta like train to be as athletically competitive as you can be. And so my biggest thing was, well, there was no rule book. There was no like thing to say this is what the standards are.
Right.
So that's something that I've slowly been kind of accumulating, and I think you and Dan, from my experience, did do something like that a few years ago. I don't know where that document is.
It's floating around on a drive somewhere. Yeah.
So either we'll probably add that to ours anyway.
Yeah, we started working on, this was years ago. This is back when we were still at uni. We started working on it was like a Strongman Encyclopedia style book where basically how to structure a comp, event variations, basic rules, basic techniques or variations that you can run with. It is on a drive somewhere. It's not complete, but it had had a good 15,000 words in it, I think, from memory. So it was all right.
That's good. Yeah, because we want to do that as like a guidebook, so that anyone that wants to get into the sport, it's like, well, here's a short, like we can have like a 30-page one where it's just your basic stuff, and then like a proper encyclopedia where it's for the officials.
Right.
And then that way it's a case where anyone that's got any questions, like that's it. And I think like you've Dan definitely knows this, and I've definitely discovered this going into organizing events. Everyone has questions.
Yes.
And like for me, my personality, I love to share. But when you like wake up to like 50 messages a day where people all ask the same question, you're just like there's got to be a better system to this.
Mm-hmm, absolutely.
So yeah, rulebook is like my biggest thing, or guidebook. Record keeping system. I'm in the process of creating a nationwide one. So we'll basically create an avenue where people can basically request records, and they've got to present proof. So think of like any record in any sport. You need to have witnesses. You need to have like a sanctioned event, proper official. You need to have all of that noted down in some way, and it like for I guess in the world of COVID, having video evidence is also a good bonus too.
Yep.
But the biggest
I think video should be mandatory as well. We want to see that good lift.
Yeah. I mean, it didn't happen if it's not on Instagram, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Especially in strongman.
100%.
Yeah. So that's our biggest thing. We wanna create a system where there are easy avenues for people to see what records are. So fingers crossed we can release the guidebook, the record keeping system, and my third project is the W.A Strongman website. We want to release that hopefully come Easter next year.
Okay.
Which would be great because that'll be an avenue for us to have a platform to showcase like the local gyms in WA that do actually support the sport. Like you guys do so much for strongman, and you guys have like an amazing wooden log that I would love to use in comp one day.
Handcrafted wooden log.
It's
Don't tell Western Power.
So yeah, we want to kind of support those gyms, support the coaches that coach strongmen, because there definitely isn't any avenues for those coaches to really have like a solid platform to showcase their skills. We want to kind of share the community a little bit and showcase how everyone knows everyone. I mean, WA, Perth, everyone knows everyone.
Everyone knows everyone.
So you got to make sure that you can share that and make the community grow. It's basically what the sport's about.
Nice one. That's great. And I thought before we finish up, Megan did want me to ask. She said she wants a big ugly trophy for winning stuff.
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
Like the Conan over there. Now, can we work on something like this?
Oh, so
like, what have you got planned? Like
question.
Pass that one. This is Megan's one from last year, right?
Yeah.
It's lovely. Look at this. This is beautiful, right? It's glass. It's got some engraved stuff on there.
Yeah.
But that doesn't scream strongman.
It doesn't scream.
Pass the Conan. This was my trophy for winning Australia's Strongest Man.
Oh my god.
Oh, fuck.
Made by. This is it's concrete. It's beautiful.
That's fucking sick.
This was made by Bill Linden, who actually went to a couple World's Strongest Man competitions.
That's so good.
One of Australia's most decorated strongmen. And when he would run the original strongman comps, because I competed in the inaugural 105 kilo category back in 2011. Before that, it was just heavyweights.
Yeah,
And he used to have these molds, and he would bump out these like a gold, a silver, and a bronze.
That's so good.
The Conan trophy. So just some food for thought there, guys. Get some big old chunky trophies going.
Well, I guess this is where I should announce it then. Yeah, we are creating new trophies as well.
Ooh.
Yeah, so the first trophy won't be as amazing as we want it to be, but that's because we've got a bit of a theme to it. So imagine like the W.A Strongman logo.
Right.
You got your W.A Strongman bit at the bottom.
Switch the side of your microphone there.
You can see it there.
Yeah.
But then at the top, we'll have your champion.
Yeah.
But it'll be champion and then whatever weight class you're in, or like strongest in the state, whatever.
Right.
Basically, it's going to be like a big, like a gigantic sheet metal bit that's like 1/2 meter by 1/2 meter big.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's
so
what
it's
I'm
gonna be
talking
big.
about.
It's going to be big.
Good.
And it's just because like with Strongman, like you want to showcase your strength, nothing better than like a massive trophy. And so effectively every year we're going to add a layer to that trophy, and it's a perpetual trophy.
Okay.
So the way that it's going to work is you're effectively going to be permanently etched onto the trophy. And when, like for instance, Megan, she'll probably go for like another state win next year as well, which I no doubt think that she'll get. Which would be great. Yeah, because a 3-peat it would be a WA first.
Right.
In I think any weight class, if I think correctly, I'll double check on it, but I'm pretty sure no one else has gotten 3 consecutive wins.
Right.
So that's a big one. But basically, because you can see there are different layers to this,
right? Yes,
different colors. So we're going to make it one big sheet, and then every year we'll add another layer to make it a 3D model of the Strongman gorilla.
Oh, right. Now, can we backdate this to 2011 so I can get my name in this somehow as well?
Yeah.
Or what? Huh?
Oh man, I love that. No, we want
don't
to.
do that. Just start fresh. Yeah.
Yeah. But we have documentation for all the previous winners, because like anything, you got to create a record. And I think like Iceland is and their how they kind of structure strongman. It's probably one of the best examples in the world where they've developed a really tight culture behind the sport, where it's a part of like strongman is a part of life, and it's a part of how you showcase your level of persisting through adversity. If you don't challenge yourself in life, you're not going to get anywhere in life. And strongman is like the example of that. You have to work your butt off for that title. And I'm sure like you back when you won that, you felt pretty damn good.
Felt good. I felt very tired. It was a 2-day event, that one.
Fuck.
Yeah, 4 events on day 1, 3 on day 2. No, 3 and 4. Yeah.
Oof, damn.
Savage.
Yeah. But like you felt really rewarded after the game.
Yes.
And you were talking about it now, and it's like 10 years later.
Yeah.
And that's a pretty big memory in your life.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's the type of stuff. Like there's culture behind that. And we want to build our culture. We want to build the history of strongman in Australia. I think what was it? It was in 2019, late 2019, Narumi started a bit of a cultural thing where he got a rock at, I think it's Point Parran, down in Rockingham. And it's like it's a big limestone rock. It's very big. It's I think like 120 odd kilos. And he filmed himself picking it up and loading it onto like this little this platform that's about 1 meter high. And he coined it the Point Parran stone, and it's still there. Both Jane and I have been
No one's going to go and move it.
Yeah,
it's too heavy.
Yeah, exactly. And it's one of those things where it's a showcase of strength. If you could pick it up and put it on the platform, like you're strong. And there was a smaller one. I think that was like 60 kilos. And so it's a case of like there's a bit of a challenge there that anyone could just go and do. It's a rock. Like rocks are everywhere. So it's something that we want to try and showcase those types of little cultural things, and shows what the community really is about.
Cool. It's great. I think it's heading in some pretty exciting directions. I'm looking forward to seeing how it goes.
Definitely excited. Yeah.
Awesome. Great. Well, thanks again for coming onto the podcast. We'll get Jane behind the camera on the next one, I think. Maybe we'll do a like a recap on the W.A Strongest Man comp once it's all over or something.
Yeah,
I'll get a third mic so we can get everyone back here.
Yeah.
That'd be perfect.
Great.
You game? Yeah, nice. Awesome. But yeah, thanks very much for watching, everyone. If you haven't done so already, please like, subscribe, join the channel. It helps us out a lot. We're trying to get up to 1,000 subscribers is step one. We are going to actually, Adrian, who you met earlier, and I are going to be doing 1,100 kilo squats if we get 1,000 subscribers.
Yeah, I remember
right?
you guys said that.
We did 100 kilo squats each, 100 kilo squats each when we hit 100. And we said we'll do 1,100 kilos when we hit 1,000. And we're going to turn it into a fundraiser.
Yeah.
And then donate the money to powerlifting. So it's helping back up like a good
like
cause
that.
in the strength sport community.
That's a good thing.
So
Yeah.
if you're not already, guys, hit that subscribe button. But Jane, Anthony, thanks very much for coming on. And we'll see you all again soon. Cheers. Bye.